Is conflict productive in the workplace? And what do you do about it? Look, without conflict, there is no resolution. And conflict in the workplace is inevitable, yet it doesn't have to negatively impact your workplace culture or your job. It's really about how you handle conflict and how you look at conflict. One of the best ways to handle conflict is to learn to understand each other's perspective. What happens that I've learned in my experience in conflict in the workplace is each person has a perspective and they have a miscommunication going on. It's not that they just don't agree, it's that they don't understand why they don't agree. And so when you learn to understand your own behavior styles, and you learn to observe, because look, behavior is observable. Behavior styles, we can scientifically identify them so we understand really what ours are and the specifics about what that leads to. However, just understanding behavior styles allows you to identify and observe others' styles, right? And the things that go with those styles, the actions, the habits, the things you may bump into, the mindsets. And when we aren't really sure, we just don't really know. So conflict in the workplace is productive. And the best way to address conflict in the workplace is through understanding people's observable behaviors. Start with your own. Look, the one thing you have control over is you. So that's where you should always begin. Look in the mirror and do what you can for you first. Once you're doing everything you can and you're learning new techniques to stay in emotional control, to understand the opportunities that conflict brings and how to bring about resolution in a conversation so that it brings people together, when you start doing those things, then you can look at someone else, start identifying their behavior styles. You start thinking about how to adapt to those behavior styles, right? Because there's a behavior gap. I behave a certain way, right? I'm a high DI, low SC. So I am very fast paced, involved in several things. I don't ask for permission. I apologize a lot more than asking for permission. And I'm an agent of change. So I love change. And now my driving forces, so my why underneath the water is I'm very intentional. So I'm purpose driven. I'm very resourceful. So I'm efficiency driven. I am receptive, so I am always looking for new ideas, and my objective and intellectual tend to change. So one time when I take it, my intellectual's in my top 4, and that means I love learning. I don't need a reason to learn. I just look for learning opportunities because I understand how valuable it is. That's how I see knowledge is there. It's yours for the getting, and so go get it. That's probably why I have all the certifications I do. The other piece of knowledge would be instinctive, where I only learn when I want to learn because I need it for something. So I'm very intentional about my learning. I'm not intentional about my learning. My learning violates my intention, right? Because I just learn because I know that when I have more knowledge on board, I become more valuable. And then my objective, right? The other part of that would be harmonious. So thinking about how the situation is, right? What's the experience? What does that look like? What's the journey? For me, it's objective. Does it work? Is it functioning? Does it achieve what we want it to achieve? So understanding that about me, when you approach me, a bullet form is good, right? Don't struggle with your words. Be prepared when you come talk to me. Now, if you're not, and you say to me, because I've worked on this for decades now, right? So, and it takes that long to learn all of it. But if you come to me and you say, hey, I'm really struggling with understanding how to talk to you. I haven't had time to prepare and write things down. So I really would need you to be patient if we're going to talk now. Now, then my turn is, I can't be patient right now. We're going to have to redo this conversation, or, we keep struggling to figure it out. Then you're like, well, I need to have the conversation now. And okay, well, why don't you take 10 minutes, get some bullets together, and then we can have the conversation right now? Or let's set it for tomorrow when you have more time to be prepared, right? And so that's the right conversation. I always talk about communication isn't the problem. It's having the right conversation with the right person at the right time about the right thing in the right tone with the right intentions. So very important. I'm always thinking of those things. So when you can use understanding other people's behaviors, that's what really helps resolve conflict in the workplace. You can take the free ones online. I'm just not a proponent of that. I've done that. They are skewed from the scientific theory, white papered, validated testing, and they aren't always accurate. And when you're dealing with humans and behavior, in my mind, based on my experience for me, right? This isn't for you. Have fun. There's a lot of different assessments out there that you can take, and I know it. For me, I just want you to take an assessment. I know that the assessment that I use is globally validated. It is updated all the time. There's continual new research on what words mean and how to compare words and what value is and how do we look at good in this world. And all of those things are really important when you're talking about behaviors and understanding why people do what they do and what their value system is. Something we don't talk about a lot is a value system. It's something that's really deep underwater. It's like the caves. So driving forces and EQ, right? Those things and competencies even are beneath the water. You can occasionally see a competency, like if someone does something well, but to understand the full makeup of how their competencies interact, you've got to know them for a very long time, have been watching that for a very long time, or simple, right? Streamline it, smarter, not harder. Take a validated, scientifically accurate assessment that helps you do talent planning. I mean, it's just a great thing. Look, people are more important today than ever before. What people bring to the table for corporations, businesses, and teams has been validated for years. Now, my question to you is, what are you doing about it? What are you doing to maximize your talent planning so that you're maximizing how your talent shows up for innovation, creativity, and ultimately profit in your business? The number one thing your business is responsible for doing is making profit. Because if you're not making profit, you're going out of business. And thereby, the people that work for you are not making a living anymore. The people you serve are no longer being served. So there's a lot of responsibility with being a business owner and a leader. And you have to learn a lot of things. Sometimes learning leadership, because it's a soft skill, is not necessarily mission critical in our heads. However, I got to tell you, that's so wrong. Like leadership and mindset and team alignment and people first culture creating is number one, because happiness, employee happiness, team happiness, personal talent happiness is the ultimate profit driver because it drives greater service. It drives more team alignment. That drives things getting done more efficiently, more productively. That leads to financial gain, right? And I want you to know, caveat, right? Do not run after money. It doesn't work. A great financial coach who wasn't talking about how to do your numbers on a spreadsheet, but she talked about and taught me a lot about how to view money, how to let money flow, how to accept and give away money, for a healthy mindset about money, right? Not a hoarder mindset about money, and how that makes the difference. And I firmly believe that how you view financial gain is a big deal and it's really important. And so ultimately a business, its number one job is to bring net to the bottom line. Now, that doesn't mean as a team, I want you to make goals that are just set on revenue, financial gain, right? Revenue growth and financial gain. I want you to set goals around what you do to serve your clients. Why are you in business? What is your mission and vision, and what pillars of values do you have in that vision and mission that you perform daily to serve your customers better? And customer service starts on the inside. When you serve each other well as a team, your customers feel that alignment and they feel like you serve them better. When you start not serving each other as a team, then it becomes fractious, and you'll notice it in your customer service. You'll have unhappy customers, you'll have dropped balls, maybe even just in how you deal with your vendors, you'll have drop balls. Somebody won't get an invoice to somebody, something doesn't happen. When that's starting to happen, please identify that as fractious moments on your team and do something about it. Even if it's just watch for more in the next 30 days, so you can start having conversations about how do we fix this? What do we do as a team? And you need to be very inclusive and diverse in your thought process of how you make that happen. It's very important to establish equity, not equality. And there's a difference, right? So when you have conflict in the workplace, learn how to make it productive and how to use conflict to get resolution through understanding people's behaviors, why they do what they do, and how you can find a common ground in between everyone to serve everyone well, because that's when ideation brings innovation into your company and your team. When your team thrives and can't wait to get to work in the morning and is really challenged by how much can I make happen today because it serves me well when I serve others well. Do the work and the results will come. And this is the work. It starts with people.